Broadcasting from Millvale Studios, you are listening to Funny Money on the River's Edge Network. I'm your host, Tom Henry, and with me is your other host, Matt Wolfarth.
Yes!
And our producer today, James, who is producing us for the first time.
He doesn't look as much like Jesus today. He looks like
definitely a different look.
Yeah, he's looking for like a Pearl Jam lead singer.
Yeah, that's pretty
We're gonna
great.
get you a lot of dates, James. We're gonna get you.
Yeah, right in here. It works.
Just the face of the operation.
Oh my God, that show's so hot. It's good. It's not as hot as usual, but it's not bad. But we wore the wrong clothes for sure. Like we have to consult.
Go ahead. Make your flannel remarks.
Yeah, Tom's wearing a flannel winter collection.
That's not true. Come on, this is like.
I know, it looks
paper
flannel.
thin, but
I actually had flannel. I have flannel pants I still wear, and I love them just because they're so comfortable. And I'll wear them in summer.
I
don't
got a shirt
care.
for $6.
I believe it. I
At
love
Old
it.
Navy.
No, I don't mean I believe it. I think it's an awesome shirt.
Well, it was in the super sale rack. I think because it's so red, it's a little jarring for some people.
Yeah,
but I'm like, I don't care.
You don't care. We're going with red. We're bright and vibrant. It's an action color.
Look at me. I like it.
Well, speaking of action, what's our action this week?
Okay, this week our action is the insurance companies. Now, we're not doing. There are some big insurers that we are not doing because we're not doing like certain
Geico
types. Right, but Geico is an asset that's ultimately owned by Berkshire Hathaway, which is, a company that is mostly an insurance company. But actually, their biggest insurance business is reinsurance.
Reinsurance? I think that's what I need when I get kicked off, right?
Reinsurance.
Like I gotta get some reinsurance.
Reinsurance are the insurance companies that insure the insurance companies.
Oh wow!
They're the reinsurers.
Wow, how big
you gotta
is
have
their
some deep
deductible?
pockets for
Well,
that.
who reinsures the reinsurers? Is this like a never?
It's a
Oh yeah, who reinsures them? Yeah, I know, right? I thought about that, but like, no, that's where it stops. I think
that's where it stops. It has to stop somewhere.
Yeah, that's
unlike
where it
pie.
stops. I don't know of any reinsurance company that is reinsured.
That reminds me of my joke about rehab, right? Like they should tell us how many times somebody's been to rehab so we know their chances of success. Like here goes Aunt Kathy to rehab.
Yeah.
I'm not taking the over and under on that. I don't think she's gonna pass this time.
Right. They should have to say it how many times. It's like, lead singer for Stone Temple Pilots, like, oh yeah, I'm going back to rehab.
Or have
So we'll
someone
see in
really-
2 weeks.
Yeah, see in 2
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
I couldn't take the pressure.
So, all right, the first one I want to talk about is MetLife. And everyone recognizes MetLife with the Snoopy logo. It's well advertised. They actually have a Snoopy float every year. And
Did they have the float at the hockey game? That doesn't make sense to me.
A float at the hockey
They had the
game.
Snoop float at the hockey game, like
in the finals?
yes,
Snoop float.
or the Snoopy
missed it.
float, the Snoopy.
Oh,
Blimp.
the Snoopy float. Oh,
The
okay.
Snoopy blimp.
As opposed to a Snoop blimp, which would be different.
Yeah, Snoop. That would be much different. No, I have a lot of theories on that, but I was always saying, like, why would they take it to a game that you can't see anything? Like, I understand a football game. Hey, let's go up to the blimp for an update. Hey, we're up here in the blimp and we can see a car getting broken into. Back to you, Bob. Right? Like, and that's a job for a pot smoker, right? A blimp pilot.
A blimp pilot. Right,
Oh,
yeah. You don't have
definitely.
to
It's
do
like a
too
floating
many
party.
fast moves. You don't have to, like, what does it go, like 10 miles per hour?
35, I believe.
Really?
And they were first invented, this a little trivia you might not know, they were invented as a warship. Well, that's going to scare the crap out of someone.
Like yeah, right.
Let's fill in a floating substance with a flammable explosive gas.
Well, it used to be flammable, right? It was hydrogen originally.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the Hindenburg went down.
Oh, okay.
But now it's helium, so it's not. Right?
Is that what it is? I hope.
think it is,
Yeah, that
yeah.
would have to be.
Yeah, it's too
Because the
dangerous.
Hindenburg didn't really work out.
No, it didn't. Yeah, you know that story. Right. A lot of their ideas at that time didn't really work out.
Helium.
So, okay, all right, let's get back to MetLife. In 1863, all right, now I noticed that, like, all three of these companies that we're going to do tonight sort of were born in the same era, which is the late 19th century. All right, but this is the earliest of the three. by a little.
1863.
1863. You might recognize that as a year in which the country was at war.
Was it the Civil War?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
In 1863, a group of New York City businessmen raised $100,000 to found the National Union Life and Limb Insurance Company.
Life and limb. I love that.
It was formed to insure soldiers against disabilities and sickness caused by the Civil War. So if you, I mean, the casualty rate was extremely high, and the rate of actual death was extremely high too. So
How would you even figure that out, though? Because that seems like a losing proposition. You know you're going to be paying tons of claims. It's like saying, hey, we're going to start an insurance company before Hurricane Ivan.
yeah, well, there are a lot of what you need when you're an insurance company. You need an actuary. You need someone who can mathematically look at the numbers, figure out what the averages are for human beings given their circumstances, and then set the premium to be adequate to fund those claims when they occur. All right, but it certainly helps to spread that risk around. It would stink to be an insurance company and you just have one client, because then it's all it's just based on the one peculiarities of that one guy. Whereas if you have 1 million customers, then you can
predict more
assess
accurately.
it's going to be very close to the average, overall.
Yeah, I agree
Right,
with
like
that.
the lifespan, for
Yes.
example. Right, but you might have a fluke guy who lives to 105, right? But
Yep.
Actuarially, they consider the end of life to be 100 years. There is
Really?
0%
Have they
chance
seen
of
my
living
eating
after
habits?
100. No. The maximum
Oh, the maximum.
human life would be
Okay.
100 years.
Okay.
Okay, that's not the average. That's the maximum.
No, that's
So they consider anything over 100 to be so rare that they don't even count it.
Is that still the case though? Because I heard there's a lot more
I think you're right that they are.
I don't want to say the wrong word.
No,
What is
that
it?
they are
Centennial?
centenarians.
Centenarians, yeah. I was going to say centenarians.
Yeah, there are, right. I mean, as our healthcare gets better, as we understand more about diet and exercise and whatever, I think you'll see more and more of those. And they will have to adjust that, the insurance companies, to account for that.
But right now we're status quo at 100.
Right.
If I live to be 100, do you think you'll live to be 100?
No, they're saying the maximum a person can live is to
I
100.
know, but I would love to live to be 100, just to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would love to live.
You know
as
what you
long
can get
as
away
the
with at
quality of
100?
life was decent.
If you know what you can get away
I know
with,
one thing you can get.
you could poop anywhere. People don't even care. He's 100.
Oh, I don't know. I would probably care if some 100-year-old dude were pooping
Someone
in
has
my
to
lawn.
clean it up.
Yeah, it's like my
Curb
front
your
lawn.
grandpa.
Come on, man.
That was pretty
but-
funny. Curb your grandpa.
All right, so
No love in the room tonight.
okay, life and limb insurance company. All right, so it was basically there to, insure against injuries and death in the Civil War.
So they were probably paying pretty high premiums comparatively at that time, based on the fact we were at war.
Well, well, depending on what the payout was,
Oh, okay.
So I assume they had no Confederates. I was wondering about that. Like, did they insure the other side? I doubt it.
I want to tell you, I did have a Confederate $100 bill somewhere in my house, and I don't know what it would be worth, but it was pretty cool to see.
That's wild. I bet it's worth a lot. So after the war, the company changed its name to Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, something a little less gory, and shifted its focus to life insurance. And so a weird thing, like back then, you could just go to another country and look at the way they were doing things. And then if you brought it back here, you were like doing something radically new.
A genius.
So this guy, the president of MetLife, Joe Knapp, in 1879, went to Great Britain and saw that they used in their insurance industry something that he brought back, and we call like working man's insurance programs or industrial insurance programs.
Okay.
Right. And what those are, and I didn't even know this, that workers would pay like a little small premium, either on a weekly or monthly basis, and the insurance guy would go around house to house and collect the premium.
I remember hearing of that.
Yeah,
It was
that
like
was
the
a
milkman, right? Like he would just
Yeah,
get
yeah,
us, like,
hey,
like the
yeah.
actually like the paper boy
You owe me $1 or you owe me $2, and then you get your
stub.
right. So it wound up being great for them. It made a lot of money because they're selling this mostly to like middle class or lower middle class, and they found out, that these poor working people would lapse on their policies so much that only 1 in 12 ever had to pay out. So
they just got free money up front.
they're basically collecting money. Yeah. And
I think I'm starting that. It's going to be called MetLife and Limb. I'm just going to start in Millville.
well, yeah, let's go door to door.
In
Right.
Millville. Collecting.
I got your back if you die.
Do you remember that? People would pretend they're not there. Collecting.
So that was the idea. You go around, and this was wildly successful. But in 1907, they did make some rules that made it harder
Rules are nice.
to gouge the customer.
Oh, to make it the further gouge the customer.
Well, to make it no. They made it so that the customer could actually get a payout. Even if they had some small labs or something.
building
like
like
that.
a cash value or something.
They just
like,
had you mean the cash surrender value?
yes.
The cash surrender value, for those who don't know, is the value of an insurance policy at a given time. If you were to give it up, how much would the insurer pay for that? So that's what that is. Like you can sell it back to the company for a certain amount, and that's the cash surrender value. And it's always much less than whatever the payout is. Okay, because you're still alive or whatever.
You're still alive. Oh, I knew there was a catch.
The nerve.
I never understood credit life insurance, right? Like, why do you need credit if you're dead?
Why do you need credit?
Credit life insurance like pays off your bills if you die.
Oh, but I mean, maybe your kids would be stuck with the bills. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Maybe your
I thought
wife
they
would
couldn't
be stuck.
transfer. Like if your name wasn't split on the card or something like that, it wouldn't. Like they couldn't take it to like your next of kin legally or something like that. I could be entirely wrong, but
You mean that if
My
your
debt
name
is my debt, but if you're married, you're considered one in the eyes of the law, right? I mean, you're just one tax-paying entity.
But otherwise, you have to list a beneficiary. Or beneficiaries. Now, so, insurance is kind of a weird business in the sense that it's got two facets to it. One is you what we discussed. You have the actuaries. You figure out how much you should charge for the premium. You go and collect the premium. The other is, what do you do with the premium when you have it sitting in your pocket?
That's a good point.
You invest it. Okay.
Invest.
You use that money to make money. Okay. And that is the bulk of the return that insurance companies earn. Okay. Is from their investing. Now, the trouble is you got to make sure you have enough money to pay off claims when they come. So you want to invest pretty cautiously.
It's kind of like
they-
a bank, right?
They tend to be very frugal. Yes, it is. It is like a bank in many ways, but they tend to be more cautious than a bank.
Okay.
They're
Just
not
they-
going to lend to individuals who are starting a business.
No,
They're not going to take on high risk.
they're gonna
Not
invest in-
that banks really are these days either.
But they're investing in people that can,
But they'll invest in stocks and bonds, but mostly bonds.
Oh, really? So they want that three. They just want to beat inflation a little bit by a little bit.
Well, they want as much as they can get. And it's not like, I'm going to just try
without
and
raising
take a little
risk,
bit of
right?
money. No, they just want as much money as they can. But At the same time, you have to be cautious because if you invested it all in stocks and the stock market tanked and there was a huge hurricane at the same time,
You
you'd be
are
in
leaving
big
town
trouble.
on a little boat.
Yeah. So they do tend to invest in fixed income. And now this is the downside about today's environment is that rates are very low. Okay?
Correct. Yeah.
So, like if you buy a 10-year bond, you get less than 2% a year.
Yuck.
In fact, it's more like 1.65%.
Oh my
right now.
goodness.
Yeah, so you get really low interest.
Is it worth it? Does anybody do that right now? Like,
that's an the reason the rate is where it is because that's an indication of the demand for it.
oh wow.
So yes, there are tons of people buying it. The more people
because
that buy
it's-
it, the lower the rate goes.
Okay, but it's
yield
based on
goes, right?
yeah. So
The
it's
yield.
based on most people are doing. Is this a part of my portfolio, right? Like a percentage.
Well, I think a lot of the buyers for that are other governments. That's the hugest. What are you hearing here? Are
I
you
think
hearing some weird noise?
I thought it was haunted.
The
Did you
studio
hear
is
something?
haunted.
Did you?
I hope not.
I thought I heard. Hey, is anybody here? I heard a woman's voice. Did you hear it?
Oh,
You didn't
no
hear that?
way, no man.
Oh my God, dude!
Your
Yeah,
mind
you're
is
gonna have me
haunted.
looking over my shoulder all night now.
She's haunting
No,
you
because I looked,
specifically.
I heard it, and then I saw you look, and I thought you heard it, but you didn't hear it. Wow,
She's
dude!
just haunting you.
I'm never eating hot dogs at lunch again.
Okay, so
I got it. Makes sense.
So,
Conservative.
in a low rate environment, it's very hard for them because they'd much rather be making 5% than 2%.
Yeah, they need that 10-year to go up to
and-
like 4 or 5.
So it's a time of, lukewarm profits.
Where do they go when the rate's too low? Do they go to like real estate? Like real estate seems pretty safe to me.
Yeah, well, except 2007 that real estate was the worst thing.
Well, besides that.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not, but that's not the only time real estate's tanked. But for the most part, it goes up by far. The stock market also goes up for the most part. So I guess what you would do then, if the rates are so low, you don't. There really isn't that many places they can go. They could go to the stock market, but you'd have to be very careful, extremely diversified.
What would you do if you were running it? If you were, it's like Tom Henry.
As
National Limb and what's it called?
Okay,
Life and Limb.
right.
Tom Henry
As
Life
far
and Limb.
as I can tell, I would not run it significantly differently than they appear to be running it because it seems to make sense. I would still be cautious like them. I wouldn't, try and shoot the moon and go into stocks and then risk.
Has that ever happened where someone says, "I'm just going to take my shot"?
Oh my gosh, AIG. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
AIG had to get bailed out.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I think even MetLife got a bailout.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
So-
no, of course, yes, it has happened. And
Okay.
Prudential, I remember they were struggling one time too. They might have had a bailout.
We
or
kind
something.
of had a little
Uh,
fiasco.
Yeah, things can get bad, and they do go under. There have been a lot of insurance companies that have come and gone. So this MetLife, though, is mostly, its biggest component is life insurance of sales. But it has a very diversified portfolio, even so. Of products that it sells. It insures cars and everything else, property and casualty. About going back to the working man's policies where they go around and collect a thing every
The
week.
1 in 12.
By 1880, they sold over 250,000 of those.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, and that was $1 million in revenue back then, which was huge
Yes.
at that time. By 1909, MetLife had become the largest life insurer, and it still is to this very day. All right,
The largest.
let's talk about the numbers here.
Yes.
Now, this is a stock that trades for $42.55.
What's the symbol?
MET. Met.
That makes sense.
And that's down from $54 in 2014. And generally, the reason for the decline is what I was just telling you. that it's been hard to make money because of rates being low. And the one good thing is that the Fed has been making noise about raising rates. And it actually raised rates 1/4 point last year for the first time. And who knows how long. I mean, since before the crisis. So if you think the Fed is going to raise rates, and by that I mean the Federal Reserve, and Janet Yellen is the head of the Federal Reserve, then this could be a moneymaker. It could be good for that would be good for this stock, no doubt.
So you're looking 6 months to 12 months down the line. Like,
However,
if you think there's going to be like 3 raises,
I don't know. I really don't. I really don't think. Based on the last comments and her testimony in front of Congress even today, it sounds very dour. It sounds like she thinks
really
there's a lot of risks to the economy, and that long run growth is going to be really slow. So I don't think she's going to raise rates anytime soon.
But doesn't that make her look bad, though, that she raised them once and then they're not raising them again?
Sort of. But they did say that they would probably do that, though.
Okay.
Like wait a long time between rate hikes. So by 1909, oh yeah, I already said that. Okay, a PE. Okay, the PE on this company is 9.13. Quite low.
Yes.
Dividend yield 3.76%. Quite nice.
Yes.
Okay. Return on invested capital 5.57%. Quite low. And that's what I'm talking about. They have low investment return. Net debt to equity 18.5%. Excellent. Very strong balance sheet. Earnings per share expected to increase 19.25%.
Wow.
Excellent. And this is.
Could I go back to your rule from last week? So based on 3 points of growth,
Yeah.
that would be 6 points. That would average. That would take you up to 11. So you would actually be over the 9, right? 11 to 9.
Right. Yeah, you'd be over the 9. So I agree with that assessment that by the numbers, this is a good buy. The only but the reason why I don't run out and buy it is because of what I said, that I think rates are liable to be low for a longer time than the market thinks, and therefore this stock won't do that well because of that.
So it's just going to stay
So
it's going to stay flat, right? I mean,
for
as far as
external reasons, I even though internally these numbers look great and I like the company,
well, I like that
externally,
distinction.
It's because of what the Federal Reserve is doing in economic conditions, broader economic conditions. So that's why I wouldn't buy it.
You're not buying it. No buy.
Yeah.
No.
But I do like it by the numbers. So if Janet, if I were to change my opinion and start to think that they're going to hike rates soon, I'd come back to this.
Okay.
Yeah, revisit it. If you think rates are going to go up, this is a buy.
Good
All right.
point. That was an interesting one. I didn't think it was going to be interesting, but it was very interesting.
Okay, now.
You surprise me every week.
Never
Now.
know what's coming.
We'll take a break.
Yeah. Wait. Before we get into our next one, which is going to be Prudential, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsors.
Hey, this is Matt Geica, the host of your alternative sports talk program on the River's Edge. It's called Geick's Got Game, and it's every Friday at 7 a.m. I'll give you a peek behind the sports media curtain, zoom out for the big picture, and always obsess over the details of the games, teams, and players we love or love to hate. That's Geick's Got Game every Friday at 7 on the River's Edge.